our esteemed moderator, Mr. Faflizal Sakma, Vice President for Guidance and Consultation at Indonesian Infrastructure Guarantee Fund. Mr. Faflizal, the floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fahrizal Sukma, and it is my pleasure to serve you as a moderator for these sessions. On behalf of Organizing Committee, Indonesia National Development and Planning Agency, or the Bappenas, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this business forum, Innovative Financing, Unlocking Opportunities for Sustainable Development. This forum is part of Indonesia participation in the World Osaka Expo 2025 and serve as a platform to foster dialogue, partnership, and collaboration regarding innovative financing. This forum presents a significant opportunity to explore strategic financing innovation that will support Indonesia's long-term development agenda and to achieve a sustainable infrastructures. Ladies and gentlemen, as many of you know, Indonesia is currently entering a critical path of transformation, with infrastructure investment needs more than 10,000 trillion rupiah, and to achieve 8% economic growth in the next 5 years. So it is important for us to mobilize diverse financing sources through synergy between public, private sectors, and international cooperations. This forum brings together government leaders, financial institutions, private sector partners, university from diverse region and background to exchange ideas and showcase concrete strategies such as blended finance, green bond, government guarantee, and public-private partnerships. So it is a privilege to welcome respected experts from Indonesia and Japan who will share perspective and enrich our understanding of innovative financing solutions. We also encourage our audience members to participate actively to one-on-one session. We will now start our panel session, and I would like to invite Deputy for Development Funding and Investment, Bappenas, Mr. Putut Harisatiaka, who will explain the discussion context. Mr. Deputy, the time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. His Excellency Bapak Heri Ahmadi, Ambassador of the Republic of Indonesia to Japan, Honorable Mr. John Cahyanto Bustami, Consul General of the Republic Indonesia in Osaka, Honorable Professor Bambang Brojonegoro, Dean of ADB Institute, esteemed speakers of the Business Forum, and to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Selamat pagi, ohayo gozaimasu, good morning, and warm greeting to all of you. It is both an honor and privilege for me to be here today at this distinguished business forum where we gather to discuss one of the most pivotal drivers of global progress, innovative financing as the key of harnessing sustainable development opportunities. Indonesia, as the world's fourth most populous nation and world's seventh largest economy, has charted an ambitious course of the years ahead. Anchored in our 2025 up to 2029 national mid-term development plan, we are committed to transforming Indonesia into a more equitable, prosperous, and sustainable nation, This plan articulates clear target by 2029. First, raise our gross national income per capita up to $8,000 US, reaching the threshold for advanced economy status. And then we also want to have economic growth up to 8% in 2029, and then reduce poverty up to below 5%. Right now we are in 8.57. Strengthen Indonesia position on the global stage, improving our global power index rankings, and also include greenhouse gas emission intensity to over 45%, and improving the environmental quality index into 77.2. This target shows that we focus not just on growth, but also on equity and sustainability. To support these goals, we are aligning our programs with the President's top priorities, among others, providing free nutritious meal for students, achieving food, energy, and water self-sufficiency, downstreaming and natural resources, and expanding manufacturing industries, and also promoting the green and blue economy. To make this happen, Indonesia will need a total investment of around 3.117 trillion US dollar between 2025 to 2029. But the important thing is that more than 86% of that investment is expected to come from private sector. This includes both domestic and international investors, as well as public-private partnership. Only around 7% actually that will came from the government, and 6% from state-owned enterprises. Then let's take a closer look at economic infrastructure development on the left side or right side from your point of view. At economic infrastructure development, which includes several sectors such as transportation, water resources, energy, ICT, housing, water supply, and sanitation, the total needs is around 660 billion US dollar. And again, it's only about 30% of that will need to come from private investment. In addition to infrastructure, private sector participation is also expected to support the downstreaming of natural resources, including agriculture, marine commodities, manufacturing industries, including industrial parks, logistics, properties, tourism, development, creative economy, and social infrastructure such as hospital and schools. To achieve this, the government of Indonesia has issued a series of policy and strategies of innovative financing for enhancing infrastructure development. Our innovation lies in the way we develop delivery mechanism and institutional frameworks, all which are governed by clear and coherent regulations. These efforts are not confined to the national level alone. They are also being implemented across subnational government. Importantly, this is not a static approach. It is an evolving and continuous process, one that grows through experiences, adapt to changing needs, and remains open to a broad range of input and collaboration. Ultimately, these innovations are designed with a clear purpose to build enabling favorable investment climate where private sector participation is not only welcome but truly enabled. Ladies and gentlemen, let me highlight some innovative financing strategies that we have developed. First one, land value capture, and then also limited concession scheme, public-private partnership, SDGs innovative financing, including incentive for subnational government to support the use of blended financing, and also Danantara. This is the new sovereign fund in Indonesia. And to further reinforce this foundation, in 2025-2029, in National Medium-Term Development Plan provides a strategic direction for structuring innovative financing schemes. This plan has laid down not only the target and priorities, but also the institutional and regulatory backbone. As we understand, that I just mentioned are necessary to implement innovative, collaborative, and forward-looking financing models. Hence, private entities can expect transparent procedures, structured risk-sharing mechanism, and a clear pipeline of investment-ready project. Specifically, if we talk about a public-private partnership scheme, the government facilitates a conducive investment environment by offering various forms of support. This includes the provision of one-stop service for business licensing via the online single submission or OSS system, aimed at improving the ease of doing business. The government also extends support through the Viability Gap Fund to enhance project feasibility and offers partial construction support in collaboration with relevant sectoral ministries. To further strengthen project bankability, government guarantees are provided at risk mitigation instruments. Moreover, the government offers the project development facilities, which serves as a financial resource during the project preparation and development stages. Private sector engagement is also encouraged through fiscal incentive. While within SDGs innovative financing and blended financing, the government provide a complementary range of support mechanism. For instance, additional national budget transfer to finance supporting or related infrastructure to the project, policy coordination, the preparation of funding structures, and so on. Through these comprehensive policies, the government of Indonesia seeks to create a robust and collaborative financing ecosystem that encourages both public and private sectors' participation in achieving sustainable development goals effectively and inclusively. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude this presentation, please allow me to once again emphasize that right now Indonesia is entering a new era of development, one that places collaboration, innovation, and sustainability at the heart of our national agenda. We recognize that the scale of our development goals requires strong partnership beyond borders. The Indonesian government is fully committed to ensuring that every project we offer is prepared with clear, transparent, and measurable outcomes so that both the public and private sectors can share not only the risks, but also the rewards of infrastructure investment. Through the frameworks we have put in place, from sound policies and institutional guarantees to incentive schemes and risk mitigation tools, we aim to build long-lasting, mutually beneficial relationships with global partners who share our vision of sustainable, inclusive growth. Thank you very much. Thank you for your kind attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Pak Putut, for the presentations. Please join us in this. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite all speakers to the stage and also allow me to introduce our speaker from both Indonesia and Japan. Our second speaker is From Indonesia, Minister of Finance, Director for Government Support and Infrastructure Financing Management, Mr. Riko Amir. Our next speaker is from PT Sarana Multi Infrastruktur, Head of Public Financing, Mr. Delano Dalu. Next speaker is from Indonesia Infrastructure Guarantee Fund, Business Director, Mr. Andre Permana. And our last speaker is from MUFG Bank, Director of ESG Finance Department, Mr. Nicholas Gandolfo. Online.
Hello.
Okay. Indonesia 2025-2029 National Development Plan outlined significant goals, including sustainable economic growth. To achieve this target, the country required total investment around 47,000 trillion rupiah. However, given the limitation of public financing, where only 13% is expected to be sourced from the government and state-owned enterprises. So, the success of this agenda will rely on private sector participation, particularly in infrastructure development. To open the discussion, I would like to direct the first question to Bappenas. Earlier, you mentioned that the innovation process is continuously evolving. Could you elaborate on the concrete form of innovation in financing strategies that are planned for the future? Silakan Pak Putut.
Okay, thank you. When we talk about innovation, for example, for PPP, public-private partnership, that's actually one of our scheme right now for investment, to attract investment. Actually, we do have the regulation, and now we are in a process of have a new regulation on that. We want to make it more simple on the process of PPP, because as we know that public-private partnership is always have several obstacles on the regulation across the line ministries. Then we want to make it simpler, and so the process of the PPP itself can be many deregulation within it. So one of that innovative is in that area. And also for example, for incentive and so on, right now we have, for example, for taxes, we have a global minimum tax. Of course, there are plus and minus on that, but we are also right now in a process of having incentive other than tax holiday. So we want to tandem between global minimum tax and also the other incentive. That's maybe one of the innovation that we are built right now in order to incentivize the investment to Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak. You also mentioned that. Okay, thank you, Pak Putut. You also mentioned that the innovation take place at both national and subnational levels. What does subnational innovation look like, and how do you ensure there is strong synergy between the central and local government in order to promote the innovative financing?
Yes, in the monitor you can see blended finance for subnational government. That's actually one tools that we are now having, meaning that when we want to have subnational government projects, then we can blend all the finance possible. for example, from private sectors and then also from local government and also from central government. For example, in Indonesia, we have a specific transfer allocation. Then we tandem with what kind of project that that are going to be in a certain local government, and then what is available in that area itself. For example, for land and many other things should be provided by local government, and then the main investment it can be from private sector, but also we tandem with the transfer from central government in order to make it more achievable for the project itself. That's what we call as blended financing. So we gathering many sources of finance in order to help subnational government to have a very good project. That's for blended financing for subnational government.
Thank you, Pak Putut. And now we move to Ministry of Finance, Pak Riko. In support of Indonesia National Development Agenda, the Ministry of Finance play important role, especially for innovative financing strategies. Its function include formulating fiscal policies, overseeing fiscal risk safeguard, and establishing a regulatory environment to attract the long-term investment. We would like to invite insight from Minister of Finance with this following question. What fiscal support mechanism has the government of Indonesia introduced to promote innovative financing?
Yeah, thank you, moderator. If we're talking about PPP projects, we have to move back around 2006 when the first PPP projects being announced, the Central Java power plants, and actually it was a good PPP project in that era because the structured and also the bidding process very made in a good and transparent way. And the Japanese investor, if I'm not mistaken, will participate in this PPP. Right now, as Pak Putut mentioned about the needs of the infrastructure financings, that the state budget only covered the 40% of the needs, then we have to move and think about more what we have financing it through the partnership with the private sectors. Therefore, the government then invites and welcome private sector participation in the development of strategic economic infrastructure, while public financing remain focused only for the delivering the basic infrastructures for the basic needs of the essential public services. For the fiscal support, move to the slide 4, if I'm not mistaken, please. Oh, I can just, sorry. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And driving sustainable impact through government support, that guiding global commitment, we have committed the global agendas of the Paris Climate Agreement and the implementation of global commitment in the national policies to the ESG framework and manual development. Therefore, in the form of the preparing the project in the PPPs, the implementation of ESG policies must be included in this preparation. Therefore, the project development facilities we have built, and the initiatives will consist of the support. The first one, the viability gap fund, in the cash grant to enhance the SPV's profitability and user affordability. and also the infrastructure guarantee if it's needed, the guarantee PPP risk, and we have established the Indonesian Infrastructure Guarantee Fund to make the risk mitigation properly and fulfill the needs for the investors. And for the financing that the infrastructures, it's we're not very bankable or very commercially viable, then we get the what we call the availability payment process, that the government will give support in terms of the state budget annually to provide the financing for the infrastructure project. The three of these incentives then packaged in what we call the project development facilities. Right now, the Ministry of Finance give a task to the IAGF, to the PT-SMI to do the project development facilities with the government contracting agencies. I think that's for the answer, Pak Rizal.
Okay, thank you, Pak Rico. You just mentioned about the importance of the ESG. What policy or regulation have been issued to integrate the ESG principle into the infrastructure projects, especially in Indonesia?
Yeah, before to answer that, we have some of the project that the objectives included the SDGs. The first one is the Samarinda Hospital. As you can see, the Samarinda Hospital will have some of the ESG process in there, the mandatory compliance, design, and also environmental friendly, and also the Singkawang Airport, the use of the blended financing. The ESG criteria will be the energy and resource efficiency, gender and responsive and inclusive design, and environmental risk mitigation. That's some of the projects that are being prepared through the ESG criteria. And that's to answer your question, that all of the ESG criteria will be blended to the sum of the incentives from the Ministry of Finance. The current regulatory framework, we can see that, that we have take a scheme, for example, in the right below, you can see the PPP structure with the blended financing, the land value capture that has been mentioned also by Pak Putut, unlimited concession scheme. There are some of the regulations that implemented for the ESG principles.
Okay, thank you, Pak Rico, for explanation. Now we move to PT-SMI, Mr. Delano. PT-SMI mandated to accelerate infrastructure development through innovative financing, including PPP and green instruments. As the host of SDG Indonesia One platform, it bridges public and private capital to support Indonesia development agenda. The question is, how does PT-SMI promote the use of green financing instrument in infrastructure development?
Thank you. To answer that question, I think I need the slide 6 slides. Yeah, because let me explain that, this one. Our strategy to promote green financing is to introduce to all of you the blended finance partnership model, because within this model we leverage our business and development activities through partnership for greater impact. Let me explain. When SMI is established in 2009, about 15 years ago, our role is only in the middle, in the commercial financing side. However, we face our first challenge. There is not much project readiness. The project that ready to be bankable, to be our finance. So our activity to the left side, we originate the project, in the project development, advisory, and research. We also got assignment from Ministry of Finance to create more PPP bankable projects since 2011. And then after that, I think until now, we have already about 8 projects that already financial close, and another 13 projects now is undergoing. I will tell you more on the list of the projects if you are interested. After the project comes, we face another challenge. We have to diversify our source of fund in the right side. So in order to that, PTSMI is the first issuer of the green bond in 2018. We try to attract global investment. We try to attract global financing come to Indonesia. And then we realize in this complex situation, we need to also to adopt global practices. And then after that, we create our ESS framework, energy and social framework. We create our credit rating and ESG rating, and then SMI itself now already has an accredited agency for Green Climate Fund. That's for the green. For PPP, we also know that international investors need international best practice. In order to do that, all of our personnel dealing with PPP project now is already all certified by APMG international certification. And all model and documents that we develop in the PPP project is adopted by international best practices. So that's our commitment. And then after all of this, we understand our development partners, commercial partners need one integrated platform. And then we create platform to channel all of source of fund from international, multilateral, country development banks, and other philanthropies to the project needed in Indonesia. Currently, we manage 3 platforms. The first one is the SDG Indonesia 1, the second one is the Energy Transition Mechanism platform, and the third one is the specific for the geothermal exploration platform. Within these 3 platforms, currently we already raised 3.1 billion USD with 800 million commitment contracted, and half of that already realized, 400 million. I will tell you the example. Please go through the slide 16. Back. Sorry, 13 first. So this is the example. We have UK fund. We call it investment grant. We call it blended finance sample, case study. With UK fund about 15% of the total project cost. We increase the bankability of one of mini hydro, 3 of the mini hydros projects. So our financing not come in a not bankable project because we have support of the risking activity from the UK money. And I think this month our CEO also together with us, we got visit from Minister of UK to visit this project. So this project is not only theory, but this is the real project happen for the greater impact for Indonesia and also the global SDG related financing. The second example, maybe in the next 3 slides. Okay, this is another example. The first example is the risking facilities come from UK, but this is the technical assistance comes from all around our partner. We have USAID, we have GGI, that support for the technical assistance, but for the financing itself, we channel the fund from AFD to channel the project, and then we also leverage this fund to the other lenders as a syndication. This is this project is come from geothermal power plant, about 31 megawatt in Java. So this is what our platform is established. We can mobilize the fund from global partners, including Japanese, to the needs for the bankability in Indonesia projects, in the real project, for the greater impact. We understand in the next 5 years, Pak Putut, Pak Riko already said, there are huge opportunities in Indonesia for our 8% target economic growth. So please come up with our platform and we can share you how to deal the project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Delano. The next question is, what kind of project do you believe present promising investment opportunities, especially for the Japanese investor and also for the financial institutions?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. We have some projects in this forum. I think I just skimming one by one. But if you interest to explore more, we open for the next session in the one-on-one meeting. Please go to the slide 16, if I'm not wrong, or 18. Okay, this one. The first project is the waste to energy project. This is in Balikpapan, 750 ton per days. This is waste to energy. The structure is still under finalizing. The revenue stream of the private sector should be 2 options. The first option comes from 3 sources: the tipping fee from the local government, electricity power by PLN, and VGF from Ministry of Finance. The second option is directly sell all to PLN. The total capacity of electricity in this project projected is about 12 megawatts. Next project. Next project, next. The second project is health. This is the first teaching hospital that we offer through the PPP scheme. I think this project is matched with Japanese best practice because we use ITech, the consultant from Japan, to create this structure. So based on their input, the most value for money scheme for the social infrastructure is to create a role of private sector only for building and utility and maintenance. And all of the private sector investment will be paid back by the government pay. So the operating and also medical services and also the IT system will be provided by the government contracting agency. In this context is Universitas Pajajaran. Next project. The next project is LRT. So since 2 years ago, we already operate our first high-speed train between Jakarta to Bandung. Because of this facility, the agglomeration of people from Jakarta to Bandung makes the Bandung greater area is heavy traffic. So they need access to public transport in the rail system. So we help the West Java province under assignment from Pak Riko to assist them on dealing with the PPP project in LRT in the greater area Bandung. But this project now is still under feasibility study, so we will study it with our consultant, Mott McDonald and Ernst & Young. And then next project. Next project is in Nusantara. We help the Nusantara Otorita IKN, and for the first 6 PPP projects comes from the housing, public housing projects. We have 6, next slide please. We have 6 projects. These are unsolicited projects. The first project is at 8 apartment towers. The second project, 109 unit of landed houses. The third project is 5 apartment towers. Next slide. The fourth project is the 20 apartment towers. The fifth project is 10 apartment towers, and the last project is 10 apartment towers. All of this project is unsolicited, but still need to be tendering out, still need competition with other investors. And all of this project will be on the availability payment scheme. So all of the investment comes from the private sector, and government will pay back through the availability payment scheme directly from the Ministry of Finance. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Delano, for the explanations. Now we move to IIGF, Indonesia Infrastructure Guarantee Fund. IIGF plays a critical role in de-risking instrument investment by issuing government guarantee, especially for the PPP project. Its mission is to increase investor confidence and accelerate private sector participation in PPP project. How do IIGF guarantee mechanism help improve the bankability of the infrastructure project?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moderator, distinguished speakers, and ladies and gentlemen. First of all, if I may start, let us start with the evidence. Yeah, because when we talk about PPP in Indonesia, as mentioned by previous speakers, it's already been in place, especially in terms of the development quite rapidly in the past 10 to 15 years, at least with our government guarantee provided through IIGF with the Ministry of Finance. We have managed, at least in this caption, already 35 PPP projects. It already have a leverage infrastructure investment. In total, it's more about 20 billion US dollar. It across 7 different sectors, and it's located throughout Indonesia from the eastern part to the western part. In this slide, we can also see how the government guarantee, as part of the fiscal risk management policy by the Ministry of Finance, and as previously probably mentioned by Pak Riko, until 2016, we have only one PPP. And at that time, His Excellency Pak Prof. Bambang was the minister. And now we have reached this amount of 35 PPPs. It's already been quite improvement in terms of how we also been mandated to other guarantee scheme, not only to PPP. And in total, we have managed 54 guarantees, which already amounted of investment leverage by our guarantees more than 33 billion US dollar. We have also another product, if I may move to other slide. Yeah, this one. And related to the moderator's question about how we can actually improve the project quality and also the investment climate to the infrastructure investment. First of all, under the mandate of the government guarantee, we have in general 2 different products. First is the PPP project guarantee, and also another one is the SOE, state-owned enterprise credit guarantee. In performing these mandates, I think as previously also mentioned by our colleague from SMI, we need to have our stakeholders, especially on the public side, have a certain capacity and commitment, because they're the one who have a long-term contract with the investors and also the financiers involvement. In that sense, not only we also can be assigned the project development facility, so Minister of Finance, Pak Riko especially, can assign at least IGF and also SMI to perform the PDF. And interestingly, we also established our unit called IIGF Institute, who is actually focusing on the capacity building and also outreach and publication, policy advocacy, to enable our, especially public sector stakeholders, to really understand and familiar with the investment context, especially on PPPs. And interestingly, when we are doing the government guarantee, we are actually the longest government support in terms of the period on interacting with the stakeholders, actually with the counterparty, because we have our guarantee tenor, guarantee period, from the signing of the agreement, at least, until the operation of the project. So not only after the financial close, then we go home, but we are still with the investor, with the project owner, the government contracting agency. We are together in managing the project, and we have so-called the project monitoring activities. So this actually has enabled us in managing those guarantee portfolio that I mentioned earlier, so that the project can sustain in terms of delivering the services to the people, and also serving the return to the investors, and also to the lenders. So this kind of sustainable framework that we are actually promoting through our government guarantee. I think in the next caption, probably I can also elaborate later on what would be the further effort that we are doing to strengthen that. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Andre. To build the investor confidence and increase private sector participation, how can innovation in guaranteed scheme be optimized to support sustainable infrastructure development?
Okay, thank you, Pak Moderator, Pak Sukma. So if I may go to the next slide on our collaboration. First of all, I think from our earlier explanation, having IGF Institute is already an innovation. And also being part of the PPP Joint Office Republic of Indonesia with another 8 line ministries, with Bappenas, Minister of Finance, Minister of Home Affairs, and so on, is already another innovative scheme, so that we are actually have a one platform of collaboration. So if I may go to the slide that we have some other collaboration. Yeah, this one. If you can see, there are so many logos in this slide, but what I can actually mention here is actually when we are doing or we are performing this kind of mandates, I think the key word is having it together with our partners. The first partner, of course, our public sector partners, with the Minister of Finance, with the PPP Joint Office Republic of Indonesia, and also with another SMV, special mission vehicle like SMI and also SMF. We are also kind of have a collaborative effort and be present throughout of Indonesia. Another innovation is that we kind of promoting innovative and more sustainable framework, like promoting the ESG and having the environmental and social management framework. It's already been our DNA from the beginning, because we were established using so-called like a World Bank and IFC's guidance for such framework. And also we are collaborating with different stakeholders, not only public sector stakeholders, but also like financing stakeholders, even not only international banks, but also even regional banks, smaller ones, because we are promoting small-scale PPPs also in regional governments. And also with the Sharia financing, we are trying to have a platform to enable Sharia financing or guarantee framework. Also with the international institution, another innovation is to have collaboration or cooperation in terms of de-risking instruments like guarantee. So the World Bank's MIGA, the Islamic Development Bank's ISEC, the Garanco, and so many others, including ADB guarantees, we are also in the phase of finalizing the platform that can, first the objective is to enhance the credibility of our guarantee, so can at least reach higher rating than the government, probably hopefully AAA or AA, and also have the variety of the products in terms of the risk that can be covered, and also being part of those multilaterals, we want to have another benefits to being such members, to have to access many investors from those countries, including Japan, of course. And lastly, as an innovation, we also, under IGF Institute, we are providing, and we are actually the only authorized training organization for PPP certification mentioned by Pak Delano from APNG. So we have already almost 300 certified practitioners graduated from our program. And also we have collaboration with 36 universities across Indonesia using the platform of University Network for Indonesia Infrastructure Development. And UNPAD, the one that Pak Delano mentioned, the first teaching hospital is one of the fruit of that collaboration. So they are having the first PPP in their sectors. So this is something that we always try to promote as innovation, and hopefully it will bring some sustainable understanding and framework throughout the period of the guarantee and also the project to deliver the benefits to the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Pa Andre, for the explanation. Now we move to our next speaker from MUFG Bank, Mr. Gandolfo. MUFG has supported various infrastructure deals globally. From your experience, what are the critical elements that make a project both financially viable and aligned with sustainable principles?
Yeah, hi, good morning to everybody. Hopefully you can hear me okay. And first of all, apologies I couldn't join in person. We have multiple events across the Philippines and also Jakarta this week, so lots of different things that we are doing. But thank you for the opportunity to share some views. In terms of Pak Rizal's question, look, I think you're totally right. MUFG is actually the largest funder of renewables globally and a major provider of project finance globally, including Asia and definitely including Indonesia. If you look at the key ingredients for infrastructure projects, we've heard a number of supporting and enabling factors already from the other speakers today. But I think the key thing is who is the sponsor, what experience they have, and then who is the off-taker. Is that, in Indonesia's case, the PLN? Is it a Pertamina? Is it a government? Is it a regional government? So really, who's developing a project and who's supporting the cash flows? Because as we know, most of the really innovative structures for project finance are what you call long tenor, non-recourse to that project and specific asset only. The third thing we look at is really that allocation of risk. And that's where some of the tools that PTSMI talked about, that IIGF talked about, it's really important that when you have a project, the risks are allocated in a reasonable way to support bringing in commercial money. If risks are not allocated in certain ways, it means the funding will be too expensive, and some private participants may not want to provide funding. So regulations, government support, different types of credit enhancements, whether that's insurance, guarantees, off-takes, FX support, are all really important. We do look at things like country risk, technology risk, and also returns. Some of those things not as critical in the case of country risk for a market like Indonesia, but more critical in some of the smaller emerging countries across ASEAN. So I'd say those would be the key things, and then also, in many cases, ensuring the sustainability and ESG credentials of the developer, the sponsor, and the context of which that project is fulfilling and what it's doing from a development perspective is often very important as well. So I might leave my opening comments to that, and hopefully that answers a bit broadly some of the aspects of that question. But it's a great question and fits into all the other roles of the different people on the panel today, for sure.
Related to the ESG principles and also ESG adoptions, most of the countries, including Indonesia, already adopting the ESG principles. How do ESG consideration influence MUFG investment decision, especially in emerging market like our country, Indonesia?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Rizal. Really, really good question. So the first thing I would say is that ESG considerations, I think often we just think about the risk and we don't think as much about the opportunity. So I think we have to first of all look at it and say, are we looking at something from an ESG risk, best operating practice perspective, or should we be looking at something from an opportunity perspective? It might be EV charge, might be geothermal, it might be more social infrastructure. So I think it's important not just to focus on ESG conversation only on risk and only on the bad things that can happen. But it's important to have a baseline level of things that cover common sustainability and ESG issues, but also looking to the huge capex and expenditure that will be required, and especially in a market like Indonesia, is going to be substantial across many, many areas of the economy to reach gold in Indonesia 2045 and also the 8% GDP aspirations. As an international bank, we have established policies and procedure around certain sectors, whether they're prohibited sectors, sensitive sectors. We still have a pretty good operating set of policies to do that, but it's really important to have a baseline. And then it's really important also to look at the aspect of impact in the local context as well. So MUFG is quite unique in that all of our sustainability policies, as many multinationals have, are determined by our head office. We also own 95% of Bank Danamon in Indonesia. So we get to see the good parts of both of those systems who take reference to our policies, but is a fully listed and major operating bank in Indonesia. So I think local context is important. And I think it's really important not just to look at risks, but to consider opportunities as well. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gandolfo from MUFG Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, before we move to Q&A session, I would like to invite His Excellency Professor Bambang Brojonegoro, Dean of Asian Development Bank Institute, to give his opinions and also guidance for PPP in Indonesia. Please, Pak.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. And of course, PPP has been so-called part of my life when I was in government. When Rico mentioned the Central Java Power Plant, you mentioned it was being announced first 2006, but I remember the completion was just 2012. So it needs 6 years just for one project. It means one of the constraints for our PPP project still on the long process and kind of maybe, yes, I mean, evaluation, observation will be good, but cannot be too long. I mean, private sector doesn't have time to wait that long without certainty. But let me give my so-called broad analysis on PPP in Indonesia. First, given the latest situation in our budget as well as the government policy, I believe this is a good time. This is a momentum to be more aggressive with PPP. There are three potential or opportunities. The first is, of course, when the president decided to do so-called budget reallocation, and we know that the infrastructure budget, especially at Ministry of Public Works, Ministry of Transportation, has been reduced quite significantly, then I think it is a good time to create awareness, especially on those ministries, that you cannot just stop of doing, building infrastructure, but instead you have to find the solution with PPP. So you have to be creative and you have to be more open with converting the existing project that 100% financed by budget into a PPP project. So that's the biggest opportunity, I guess, especially on the public works and transportation. Second, I think there was a presentation about our new capital. And I remember when I was Minister of Planning and we were trying to design the financing of new capital, I remember the scheme is 442. It's not for soccer, but it is for 40% full private sector, 40% PPP, and only 20% budget. So I think we have to be disciplined on that. Otherwise, people will think that this new capital is just waste of budget because we spend too much budget for building new capital. In fact, I'm glad that we have started with the PPP for the housing, because it took long time. I remember we tried to approach the public works at that time. I mean, when you are trying to build the housing for the civil servant, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it through budget, but you can do it through PPP. And especially, I think this is now the role of Pak Putut and Pak Riko, trying to promote the PPP with AP, availability payment. Many people still don't understand the availability payment. While, in my opinion, this is also, I think, the role of IIGF Institute, you have to create awareness that availability payment is good for two things. One is to reduce the pressure on the budget. So instead of spending 100% on the years of construction, then you can make it into 20-25 years of concession, and then government can have periodical payment that relatively create some saving on the budget. But the second thing is more important. Indonesians are very well known that we are excellent in building something, but we are very poor in maintaining. And that happened because usually is coming from the budget, 100% budget, then of course the maintenance needs to be budgeted, and sometimes the government official either forget or they allocated the budget but very low. So it means if we are using AP and private sector will build, finance, and maintain, let's say for 20 years, and they get the AP as a compensation, then at the end of the 20 years, then we will get the good asset, the asset that very well maintained, rather than the asset that already basically broken down, and it means new projects. So we have to create, this is good for governance, for ability payment. So this is the second opportunity, the new capital. And third, remember the ambition of the government of 3 million housing. I don't know whether it's annually or 4 or 5 years. Either way, it's better if we start to introduce PPP for public housing. I think the reason why there are so many Indonesians still not owning a house now, because government never prioritize public housing as one of the basic needs project that needs to be supported by the government. So there are 3 opportunities, but at the same time, I think now Pak Putut is, at the control of supporting PPP. In my opinion, there are still 3 challenges or basically kind of constraint for PPP. The first, unfortunately, coming from line ministries. To be honest, many line ministries still prefer to do the project using the budget. So they like to, at that time when Pak Putut was in DG budget, they are pursuing Pak Putut, please give us some budget to build here and there, rather than coming to Pak Putut and asking whether we can do PPP with this. So I think line ministries has to be aware that money is very limited, budget is very limited. There is no such thing called unlimited budget. So if they cannot get the budget allocation, then they have to think innovatively, creatively, using PPP. Second, SOE, state-owned enterprise. When I look at the project, I'm happy that now there are many PPP projects, but if to be honest, especially when I was still in the first year in Bappenas, the so-called PPP list, unfortunately, is the project that unwanted, the project that not really in the interest of private sector, the government or the line ministers didn't think that they have the money to work on project, so just give this project to PPP list and let Bappenas fighting to get the financing. So of course, at the end, you will have difficulty to attract private sector involving in this PPP. And then, just to give you motivation, in Turkey, the Bosphorus bridge connecting the 2 continents, Asia and Europe, is built using PPP, the very long Bosphorus bridge. And the other, not far from our country, National Stadium of Singapore. I don't think Singapore has difficulty in terms of budget. They have, their debt to GDP ratio is even higher than Indonesia. So they should not have issue with the budget, but still, their national stadium, that is, the roof is retractable, now, not now, I mean, few years ago, built PPP, I think with involvement of French company. And now the stadium can host soccer game, can host some concert. So the stadium can do on their own without affecting the government budget. So my point is, we cannot be too much proud of PPP if our project still so-called not national landmark project. If one of our project already at national landmark, then I think it is a good sign that PPP has been the mainstream. I really like to use the Bappenas word of mainstream, you know. So let's make PPP mainstream by having some kind of national landmark project financed or supported by PPP rather than by the budget, okay? So why SOE is the case? Because usually good project already captured by SOE without bidding process. We never know whether this SOE is really the most efficient or the most capable in working on that project. We never know whether our Soekarno-Hatta Airport is really the best airport that we can make using our own resources. I don't think so, you know, because I have seen so many better airports than our Soekarno-Hatta in other countries. And why can they do that? Not because just the money, but because they have better process in, you know, appointing developer to build the Soekarno-Hatta or the main airport project. And there are many things, you know. So I think SOE is very much welcome, especially now under Danantara. They are very much welcome to involve in PPP as one of potential participant, not kind of monopoly, you know, because whenever it's monopoly, then it's gone, you know. And third issue is, I think, Pak Putut special area, subnational, because he mentioned about subnational, and we work together since we formulated the first Formula DAU, yeah, Pak Putut. So the issue of subnational is how to make them more disciplined and more committed to any PPP project. Yes, you already mentioned about some scheme for subnational to be like more aggressive in PPP, to be more involved in bonded financing, but don't forget the Umbulan project. The Umbulan project, for me, is actually one of the best projects, supposed to be one of the best projects. This is best water supply that is drinkable, even from the origin. So you don't need too much processing in order to make the water drinkable. And it's supposed to support Surabaya, basically greater metropolitan of Surabaya. And I think we launched that 2016, I think, yeah, 2016. And of course, after that, I haven't heard anything because I moved to another ministry. But lately I heard that there was lack of commitment from local water distribution, PDAM, to buy the water. So if the private sector doesn't feel that there is no certainty from the off-takers, in this case water distribution, how can they be interested in other or in the future water supply project? Of course, they might say, oh, it's okay. There is IIGF to save us. But we don't want IIGF to be bankrupt because the lack of commitment from the off-takers. So I think for the subnational, our role is even more difficult. And then line ministries also needs to be aligned. In that case, then we can promote PPP at the bigger scale. Okay. So again, I really hope that PPP can be the mainstream. So under my tenure in ADBI for the next 3 years, PPP will be one of my topic, part of the middle income trap, because I think those countries cannot rely just on budget. I mean, we already tired with the discussion about the debt, discussion about higher deficit. So let's just set aside and focus more on PPP. And more importantly, I think Bappenas should be more in charge, you know. So from the upstream, you have to make decision, clear decision. This project, private sector. This project, PPP. This project, budget, national budget, this project sub-national budget, and the other would be blended financing and others. So don't make, I mean, especially DG budget needs to be also disciplined, not to be tempted by, the request from line ministries, or why don't you convert this PPP into just budget? Then the PPP will not go anywhere if everybody just want to piece of budget. So I think the budget so-called reallocation structure this time is good, because then we realize that the budget is not unlimited. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor, for your opinion and also guidance for PPP implementation in Indonesia. Thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we move to the Q&A session. If you have any question, please raise your hand and briefly state your name and also your organization before asking. Let's start. First two questions, the audience. Okay, we have a representative from the investors, from the financiers, and also from the universities. Okay, now we move to Pak Rico. Minister of Finance is the state manager, the state financial managers. Related to the PPP project in Indonesia, is there any relation between the PPP and also the current stated budget right now? Rico.
Thank you, Pak Moderator. The question is just like what Prof. Bambang mentioned before, because right now that during the new cabinet, then the priority of the cabinet will be in some groups. The first one, food security, and the second one, energy security, and the third one is that to enhancing the human resources through the health sector and the education sectors. Therefore, the needs of the state budget will be focused on that sectors. This lead opportunity for us to bring this provision of the infrastructures, especially the economic infrastructures, such as transportation, the toll road, the airport, the seaport, and so on, and also some of the electricity project through the PPP project. That's also, Pak Bambang is very on fire on that. But I'll thank you about the suggestion, Pak, because it is true that through the efficiency, now the line ministries has a limited budget to build, to maintain their infrastructures. Therefore, the government invite more participation to the private sector, from the private sectors. That will lead us, because right now, in terms of the state budget, we have a deficit in terms of 2.53% of the GDP. And if we do the sum of the infrastructure project within this state budget, then the deficit will be rise. And for the fiscal sustainability, it is not very good. Therefore, once again, we provide some of the projects, especially for the economic project, to the PPP scheme. I think that's the answer, Pak.
Okay, thank you, Pak Rico. And maybe to Pak Andre. Pak Andre just mentioned that IGF already guaranteed for more than 35 projects, especially in the PPP projects. And Pak Rico just mentioned there is priority sectors that government want to achieve during this period. What are the main challenges in preparing project in priority sectors like health, clean water, and renewable energy to make them guarantee ready and attractive to the investors.
Thank you, Pak Sukma. I also want to address what Prof. Bambang mentioned and observed here about our PPP and related to the issues that being asked by the moderator, which is actually the constraint to be guaranteeable. First of all, of course, and we really take note on that on the needs for more intense and more wider capacity building program. The initiative of having IGF Institute was actually as early as 2013, but we have now trying to promote the capacity building program integrated to the PPP, Pak. So we basically, especially for the regional governments, in addressing this limited capacity, we included as a default process for having PPP with the regional governments. In the other sense that we cannot proceed with PPP if they don't want to participate in the capacity building program. But the thing is, it's still lacking of resources, especially from supply side. So that's why we always promoting this in a PPP joint office. And I think this is actually, if I can suggest, especially to Pak Putut and Pak Rico, we should make this as a national program. The capacity building for PPP, for innovative financing, it's not only can be done through SMVs, but this is actually should be done in a more wider, more powerful program within the government. So that's why now we are trying to develop a program together with Ministry of Home Affairs, Pak. So they're the one to have, let's say, like a calendar for trainings and so on for the PPP, so that the interested regional governments can be more in the numbers. The second part is actually not only the capacity on the understanding, but the fiscal capacity as well. The adoption of a new law on the decentralization, fiscal decentralization, and also how they should be more independent. This actually creates certain demands for them to learn and to optimize their budget for developing infrastructure. And we try to cope with the small-scale PPP program, Pak. So we start even with the sector that is quite simple in terms of the structure. We use AP, Pak, for public street lighting. And actually, this has quite successful in certain areas in Madiun, we try in Denpasar and other cities. So that this, as a sandboxing approach, we hope this can be replicated quite easily. Because for the market itself, seeing the project structure for the public street lighting, it's using AP. And the funding source is already been secured from the street lighting tax. So this is not creating another burden, actually, to the regional government. So this actually hopefully can address the issues on the commitment, the capacity towards PPP. Another thing is that the lacking of the budget to support those projects that has less viability. Let's say in terms of the land budget, let's say the part of the government support that should be acquired before the project reaching the level of viability. The availability budget for the VGF, has been quite constrained, so it's been quite difficult to come up with more feasible projects now. But I think having said that, we always try to explore, and you already mentioned, Pak, new structures. We learn from many countries that already implementing PPP, and I know with the enhancement of our PPP regulation by Pak Iwan and Bu Novi, we try to learn from India, for other countries like Australia, to learn from new structure, especially for Japan. So this is actually something that we try to have to be the solution on this matter. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for all speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, as we approach to the end of today's discussions, I would like to invite each of our panelists to share a brief closing statement to us. and we kindly ask each speaker to keep their remarks to around 1 minute. Let's start with the Bapenas.
Thank you very much, moderator. One thing I would like to thank to Pak Professor Bambang Brojonegoro, since you have already mentioned and highlight really precise the problems of PPP and also what kind of solution that we are going to have. Thank you very much. We will all discuss with stakeholders about that. And yes, right now we are in the process of that, Pak. First problem about the very long time to get financial close, it just not make any sense, Pak, because if it is more than 2 years, I think it's just not make any sense. So yes, that's one problems. And also the scarcity of budget in Indonesia should become the trigger for having more PPP, and what project that really really suit on PPP. We are now have, not now, we still have kantor bersama or office together with the Ministry of Finance, with the Kemenko and also Bapenas. So we trying to have a solution on many things regarding to PPP. We also recognize that sometimes the problems on regulation, whether it is too many regulation or there is no regulation on that. So we will also focus on that. If there are too many regulation to become the problem, then the solution is deregulation. When the problem is there is no regulation, then we try to regulate what should be exist on the regulation. Thank you very much to all of you, and we also invite all of the investors from Japan or any other countries. Let's take a look on the list of the project in Indonesia, and we will offer the opportunity to have cooperation with all the investors, and we can work together. And if you have any question, we can discuss it later with you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for the closing statement. I think this event is very good because we are in the PPP community, in the government contracting agencies, inviting investors, and also have inputs even from the potential lenders such MUFG. This speaker has a very important message about the risk allocations. That's why the key of the success of the PPP projects will be make it more strategic, adaptive, and sustainability oriented. This is for me. Thank you.
Baik. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, as a closing statement, I would like to address 2 points. First of all, what you have already see how Indonesia has become one of the main target of source of growth in Asia and also in our regions, even globally. So you already hear the demand, you already hear the facility, and now we're talking about, and we share about the evidence, and we'd like to have further participation from you guys, especially from Japan and other countries, to promote cross-border investment. We in IGF, as Antonio mentioned earlier, is actually the one who can promote the discipline on risk allocation, because we don't guarantee the project that has not optimal risk allocation based on the regulation. So I hope this can bring credibility to the project. It can bring more interest to private sectors, having the project being guaranteed and being structured in such a way, and we have a right framework to come up with the more sustainable project. The second one is actually how we should always collaborate together internally within governments, private and public, and also with academics to really create this community of practice of having PPP. So make it more mainstream. It's actually one thing that can help us in delivering this kind of approach, innovative approach. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. As a closing statement, maybe I think from Pak Bambang point of view, Pak Putut, in the next 5 years, Indonesia has massive opportunities for public-private partnership, private investment, financing opportunity, other funds, instrument in the next Indonesia infrastructure development. In here, if you need all relevant data, all of the Indonesia planning is under Pak Putut management. So Pak Putut is here. So if you need data, if you need any information on the project, on the sector, you need Bappenas is the main institution that have all the system integrated planning. And if you need support, we have Pak Riko here. He is the director of all government support needed for PPP, for all private investment in Indonesia. And if you need guarantee and other mechanism of guarantee, there is Pak Andre here from IIGF. And we are PTSMI as development financial institution. We can leverage our assets for the financing, funding, the risking, and other mechanics to make the project happen for the better impact. Thank you very much.
And our last speaker, Mr. Gandolfo, please.
Yeah, thank you. So thanks again for the opportunity to speak today, and I wish I was there in person. It's been a great discussion. I think just to re-emphasize some of the points we've heard already, I think when we talk about infrastructure, sustainable development, and a market like Indonesia, there's enormous opportunities. And I think all the innovations around blended finance, doing things differently, are around optimizing the positions of the various parties. Private sector wants to participate. The public sector has restrained resources. So we're at a perfect time when the financial markets and capital markets are looking to support different ways, and there's more and more tools to support that risk allocation, which may have been more limited in the past. There's different types of debt for nature or debt for development swaps, credits, different types of insurance and guarantees and off-takes, even things like securitization. So I think we're in a good spot. The key ingredient is collaboration around the things we have talked about, and then supporting, whether it's individual transactions or through funds or other mechanisms. So we look forward to supporting Indonesia's growth through the various tools and the various parties we've talked about today, for sure. Then enormous opportunity to see Indonesia continue to prosper. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being part of today's Business Forum on Innovative Financings. We appreciate the insight from our speakers and also your participation into this program. This is the beginning of continued collaborations between Indonesia and Japan, and please enjoy the upcoming networking session, and we would like to invite you to explore the Indonesia Pavilion. Once again, thank you very much for all panelists dan all participant members. Mohon maaf jika ada yang kurang berkenan. Now I will hand over to the program to the MC. Thank you very much.
Now, all the panelists and the moderator, could you stand up, please? Thank you so much. And I would like to invite His Excellency, Mr. Heri Ahmadi. Could you come forward? And also, I would like to invite Mr. Kroniovan. Could you come forward to give token of appreciation? Mr. Bamban, could you also come forward? Thank you so much. 3, 2, 1. Once again, 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much, all the speakers and the panelists. Please return to your seat. As we approach the end of today's business forum, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to all of you for your presence, attention, and participation throughout this meaningful session. Today's forum has highlighted Indonesia's commitment to advancing innovative financing model through regulatory reform, fiscal incentives, branded finance, and government guarantees to support sustainable and inclusive infrastructure. The discussion also emphasized the importance of cross-sector collaboration and global standards as Indonesia seeks to unlock green capital and build a resilient financial ecosystem for its development agenda. On behalf of the organizing team, we sincere thank you all speaker, moderator, and participants who made today's session meaningful. The exchange of ideas today has provided us with new perspective and reaffirmed the importance of collaboration in advancing sustainable infrastructure financing. Once again, thank you for being part of this important conversation. Our sincere appreciation to all organizers, speakers, and participants who made this forum possible. We hope the connections made today will not extend beyond this event into real investment, real collaboration, and real partnership. Please enjoy the rest of your visit World Expo 2025 Osaka. We look forward to seeing you again in the future partnership. My apology. For after this, we will proceed directly to Indonesian Pavilion tour. To help guide you, our event organizing team will be standing by with signage near the exit. We kindly ask all guests to follow them toward the welcoming area of the pavilion. Terima kasih. Arigatou gozaimashita. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day. Just one information, we are preparing for lunch. Could you, the exit, in front of the exit, please take one lunch, one person.